Most people believe financial security begins with a certain income. They tell themselves that life will finally feel comfortable after the next promotion, the next raise, or the next milestone. Yet something unusual happens once those goals are reached. The pressure rarely disappears. Instead, a new number quietly replaces the old one, and the feeling of being almost there continues. This pattern repeats across every income level, suggesting that the relationship between earning money and feeling financially secure is far more complicated than most people realize. This is where one of the biggest misconceptions about money begins. A high income creates the appearance of wealth, but appearance and financial strength are not the same thing. One person may earn a six-figure salary while carrying heavy debt, living from paycheck to paycheck, and relying on every month's income to support an expensive lifestyle. Another person earning much less may have savings, investments, and very few financial obligations. If both suddenly stopped receiving income, their situations would unfold in completely different ways, even though the higher earner looked more successful from the outside. The difference comes down to understanding what money is actually doing. Income is simply money arriving. Expenses are money leaving. Wealth is what remains after that cycle repeats over many years. Many people spend years increasing the amount flowing through their lives without increasing the amount they actually keep. The numbers become larger, but the financial foundation underneath changes very little. Another quiet shift begins as income grows. What once felt like a luxury gradually becomes normal. A larger home, a newer car, frequent dining out, or premium subscriptions slowly become part of everyday life rather than occasional rewards. As expectations rise alongside income, spending often expands at nearly the same pace. The result is that someone earning twice as much may experience very little additional financial freedom because their commitments have grown just as quickly. The mathematics behind this is straightforward. A 20% increase in income can strengthen long-term financial stability if most of that increase is saved or invested. Over time, those extra resources begin working on their own, creating growth that no longer depends entirely on future paychecks. If spending rises by nearly the same 20%, however, very little changes beneath the surface. Daily life may appear more comfortable, but financial resilience remains almost exactly where it started. This explains why financial security is rarely determined by income alone. Security comes from having choices. It comes from being able to handle unexpected expenses without panic, from having enough savings to absorb uncertainty, and from owning assets that continue working even when you're not actively earning. Those qualities cannot be measured by salary alone, yet they often determine how stable someone's financial life truly is. This explains why financial security is rarely determined by income alone. Security comes from having choices. It comes from being able to handle unexpected expenses without panic, from having enough savings to absorb uncertainty, and from owning assets that continue working even when you're not actively earning. Those qualities cannot be measured by salary alone, yet they often determine how stable someone's financial life truly is. Modern life makes this distinction difficult to notice because spending is visible, while financial strength usually is not. Expensive cars, luxury vacations, and designer clothing attract attention immediately, while emergency funds, investment accounts, and low debt remain completely invisible. As a result, people naturally compare themselves using signs of consumption instead of signs of stability, creating the illusion that visible spending is proof of lasting wealth. Over time, this changes the way success is measured. Many people begin chasing a lifestyle rather than building a foundation. Yet lasting wealth is usually built through consistent decisions that receive very little attention from others. It grows quietly, often without changing outward appearances, until years of disciplined choices create flexibility that cannot be purchased overnight. The wealth illusion is powerful because it encourages people to focus on what can be seen instead of what provides real security. Income creates opportunities, but the way those opportunities are managed determines whether they become lasting wealth or simply support a more expensive lifestyle. Once that distinction becomes clear, money stops being a symbol of status and becomes a tool for creating greater freedom and stability over time.